Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at the spec sheets for the DBX234XSV stereo crossover. Our mission here is to really figure out why this box is considered such a cornerstone for professional audio.
It really is. It's basically the brain of a sound system.
Yeah.
And, even before you plug it in, the sources point to the feel of it.
The hardware itself.
Yeah, the hardware. They mention the solid click controls. And that's not just a small detail. It tells you this thing is built to be reliable, night after night.
Okay, so let's get into its core job. The versatility seems to be a huge selling point right from the start. How does an engineer actually configure it?
Well, that's where those mode switches come in. It's a dual channel unit, so you can set it up for a few key situations.
This is not a one-trick pony.
Not at all. You can run it in stereo two-way, which is like your classic tops and subs setup.
Right.
Or stereo three-way for low, mid, and high speakers. And then you can get really complex and switch it into a mono four-way system.
That's a ton of flexibility from one unit.
It is. That's why you see it everywhere, from touring rigs to, permanent club installs.
So when it's splitting those frequencies, it's not just using any old filter. The specs are very specific about using 24 dB per octave Linkwitz-Riley filters.
Yes, and that is absolutely the professional standard.
Why, though? What does that actually mean for the sound you hear?
So what it means is that at the crossover point, where one speaker's frequency range ends and the next begins, this signals sum together perfectly flat.
Ah, so you don't get any weird volume bumps or dips.
Exactly. Simpler filters can create a mess right at that critical point, which makes the audio sound muddy or undefined. This ensures it's just clean.
And to keep things clean, it relies on those balanced XLR connectors for all the inputs and outputs. That feels non-negotiable in a pro setting.
Oh, it is. Noise is always the enemy. Balanced XLRs are crucial because they actively reject interference, especially over long cable runs.
Right, across a big stage or something.
Yep. And you can see its reliability backed up by, the CSA and CE compliance marks. It's built to a global standard.
Let's talk about shaking the sound. There's a phase reverse switch on every single output. In the real world, when are you flipping that switch?
That is a system saver. It flips the polarity of the signal. So if you have two speakers that are physically out of alignment, they might be canceling each other out, especially in the bass frequencies.
Because one's pushing air while the other is pulling.
Precisely. That little switch lets you fix that timing issue instantly, making sure all the speakers are working together, not fighting each other.
I also see a 40 hertz low-cut filter on here. Is that just to protect the subwoofers from damage?
It's for that, but it's also about clarity and efficiency. There's a lot of inaudible sub-bass rumble below 40 hertz.
Stage noise, air conditioning, that kind of thing.
Exactly. It's just useless energy that makes your amps work harder for no reason. Cutting it out gives you way more headroom and punch in the bass you can actually hear.
And for setting the actual crossover points, there's that by 10 range switch.
Yeah, that's super useful. It multiplies the frequency range by 10, so you can set a crossover point anywhere from, say, 45 hertz all the way up to 9.6 kilohertz.
Which means you can fine-tune it for almost any speaker system imaginable.
You really can. And they even added a low-frequency summed output. It just takes the low end from both channels and gives you one clean mono signal for your subwoofers. Super convenient.
And the raw numbers here, they're pretty staggering. A dynamic range greater than 106 dB and distortion, it's less than 0.004%.
That's what tells you the signal path is pristine. That massive dynamic range means no audible noise from the unit itself, and the tiny distortion number means it doesn't color your sound. It just does its job.
So when you put it all together, the DBX234XSV is really about combining total flexibility with these rock-solid professional standards.
Absolutely. It gives the engineer precise control over everything. So here's a final thought for you to chew on. When you consider how crucial things like that 40 hertz filter and the phase switch are for cleaning up a mix before it even hits the main speakers, how much does that level of precise control actually change our perception of what a professional mix even sounds like?